Hello, hello, hello. Oh,
Hello there.
hello, Leon. How you
Hi.
doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So good, looking good. I love your t-shirt. Oh my goodness,
Thank you.
lovely.
It says Mama loves you.
Oh my goodness, right now I'm missing my mamacita a lot. So kisses to all the mothers of the world. Look,
Here,
thank you
here.
for bringing us to this marvelous game. You know.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. So, Lian, we already mentioned what's gonna be done.
Yeah.
We have everything in place, everything ready, so we can, if you want, we can start from here. If you do you want to tell us anything before we start? Do you want to discuss anything, or you
No,
ready?
I'm ready. Ready for it. Yeah.
Lovely. Remember, this is not a questionnaire. This is just a normal, natural conversation. We're here to have fun, and we're here to let you create the impact that the world is waiting for you to create. So let's start this if you want.
Yeah.
If you could maybe introduce yourself just briefly. Yeah, exactly. Who's Leon and what it's bringing to this marvelous table?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, my name is Lianne Bongers from the Netherlands, and I've been an interior designer for more than 20 years, 25, I guess. And I'm having my own interior design studio for actually next week for 19 years now.
Lovely.
So I've been working as a designer a couple of years now.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And when it comes to your professional day-to-day, you have a very interesting way to approach design and a very interesting term that neither Pato or I were conscious about. And we really think it's amazing. My mom is an interior designer, and I've been in the game, since I was very little. Always, whenever we changed homes, she was the one who taught me the difference in, the importance in colors, the importance in the environment, so on. Why don't you explain us and explain to the people what's really that magic term, let's say, and that out of the box term?
Yeah. Well, actually, ever since I started to design interiors, nature was always a big inspiration for me. And I used to bring plants inside when it was not fashion at all. So then a couple of years ago, I think it's about 7 years ago now, I was at a lecture of a company called Interface, and they brought this designer from London. He's called Oliver Heath. And he did this presentation about biophilic design. And it was, for me, it was like, oh my God, this is what I've been doing, just by nature. But it's got this name, and it's got this scientific basis, and it's so much more than bringing plants inside. And ever since that moment, I was like, I want to know everything there is to know about this subject. So I read everything there was about biophilic design. I did some courses. I read the research, and and I started using it more and more in my own projects. And yeah, it's a great way of looking at interior design, because it's all about bringing nature into the built environments, so people can connect with nature, because it's very important, because we lost this connection with nature for the last I don't know, hundreds of years. Yeah. Because we all live in cities, in built environments, and we lost this connection. But it's so important for us to feel this connection, because this is where we came from as human species. This is thousands
The
of years ago.
interaction that we were having, it was truly on a daily basis. Even from, if you think about, for example, before we didn't even have like shoes or something, we were grounding the entire time. We were using the plants truly like to heal, and to there were even this knowledge that we were having on like really know which plant will like be good or which doesn't, like and I think it's really interesting how this entire urbanization has left that nature on the side and make it truly like if it will be a kind of prize, you know, being able to enjoy nature, it's now sold as a reward. When imagine that literally being yourself and connecting with what you like, what you also are. I don't think why that would be a gift. That would be something that you truly must do by nature. So I think it's really marvelous how you integrate all that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, we lost this contact, and we were like, as a human species, we were like standing above nature. You know, we are like we're higher than nature. We forgot that we ourselves are part of nature. We are nature as a human species, you know.
Sure.
And
that polarization, it's a thing that is happening. I think the human, it's thinking not anymore that they're nature, that they're made of nature, and we're creating kind of this separation in a very unconscious way, I would say, because we all begin with nature. We all get nourished by nature. I mean, all the food that we would like to eat, because it's unfortunately not the case. Food grows in trees. You know, it's also something that I found really crazy. How are people not eating when food grows in trees? Like you know, how crazy the like entire like agenda and whatever has taken on these things for people, again, to then reward nature when must be something elementary and primarily part of you. Let's say how you wake up with the sun and you sleep when the sun goes out. Again, it's, for me, it's a really nature way of being or living. Like, I hear you, how we are connected with all these cycles, you know. And I think in this entire new modern world, that's totally had been lost. So, for example, what would be something that you truly could like do to integrate a little bit more this like in a regular, for example, all the mothers and all these moms that are wow, crazy with their home and they love it, and they want to have everything super sweet and nice and the corner, and you have the kitchen with the herbs, and like, for example, to like, I'm just thinking about like, to all these women, how can they potentially benefit not from bringing plants into the kitchen or the house, but to introducing biophilic design into their environments and into their homes? Like, what kind of benefit would be even for the family, for the kids? Like, maybe you can illuminate us that.
yeah, of course. You know, it's more like it's not just plants. You know, that's the whole idea. But plants are the most visible thing you can bring in. But it's also about having enough daylight, for example. You know, daylight that's so important for us. If we don't get enough daylight, especially for people who work night shifts, for example, they have not enough daylight, and that can lead to insomnia. That can lead to diabetes. It's very important to get enough daylight. So first thing I always say when I am coming into a project for the first time is, how can we make sure there is plenty of daylight in the building,
Totally.
and also in your home, of course. Yeah, there are many ways. You know, acoustics is a very important one. In nature, acoustics is always good. You know, there are no hard materials where sound can you know bump into.
Back or so. Yeah.
So also the air quality of your home is important. You don't want any toxic things you know, in your house. But you can also do it with little things, like when you're working, you can have a screensaver on your computer with your favorite nature
background
picture. Or you can play natural sounds in the background, sounds are very important. We always have.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely, whether or not it brings you to those certain places in a subconscious kind of way. It gives you a different input. It gives you a different, yeah, super.
Yeah, it's all about the senses. We, our sight is very. We do everything and we judge everything by sight, but the way things make us feel is much more important. But it's the same with scent. If you smell something, it can immediately bring you back to like this memory from your childhood, or scent is very important. So when you have like these natural scents in your house, that it really works on your mind and can bring back good memories.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you mentioned that it's not just plants, that's everything in that surrounds plants, and it's also the way you position different things, as you mentioned, acoustics. It's something that I think that not many people think about acoustics, but the impact can be great. And for example, if you have children in your home, especially now with social media and with all these games, online games and so on, that your children are very probable to stay in the room with everything, with no sunlight entering, then you enter into mental health problems and enter into a very dark world. What you're bringing to the table, it's not just the solution, but it's the consciousness of that problem,
and the prevention also,
and the prevention of the problem,
suggest,
which is
it's
very important.
Yeah.
It's very important, and I think that's very important also that recognized and experienced designers as yourself are coming with this concepts, because you are the ones who have at the end of the key in when designing a building for the first time. You are the ones who have, okay, so let's put this way, that way the acoustics can whatever, or that way the sunlight can enter in a most effective way, or so on and so forth. So talk us a little bit about how you think this impact, this let's say term, this biophilic design could get into more designers' hands. How these designers can start implementing this, or what do you think is the future for biophilic design? What's your take on that? I'm interested.
Well, me personally, I think it's not a trend, although plants maybe are at this moment, but I think the whole concept of biophilic design is so important, and it meets all the things that we are dealing with at this moment. It has an answer, for example, on how do you say, materials. We use natural materials. So, and in the end of the life cycle of such materials, you can put them back in nature, and it resolves itself. It's not waste. In nature there is no waste.
Yeah, no, it's all reused. Just to understand, for example, the materials that you're using, you mean, for example, also inside of the environment, that let's say all the kind of textiles and this and that are, of course, organic cotton, and reducing all that kind of like, let's say, plastic and polyester BS that at the end, truly goes not only for hormone dysfunction and for several health problems. I think it's really interesting how this entire biophilic design truly empowers the health itself of the body of the people around, that how it potentially even increase longevity, I would say. Like right now by the conversation, I'm thinking it's so true, all the natural exposure from the light, it will set up your circadian rhythm as you wake up in the morning. And it's again, it's like a flower, when the sun goes up, the flower opens, and when it goes out, the flower closes. And so we work as nature.
Exactly.
Our brain, our neurotransmitters, all our receptors, And I think by integrating all this, you're kind of making it easier, exactly, to go back to nature. It's so nice.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it. It's not, as an interior designer, you're always working on this beautiful end result, which is nice, of course. But when implementing biophilic elements, you're more working on the health and well-being of the people who use the building eventually.
Yeah.
And that's really another mindset, you know. It's it gives you another layer of design. And
it's another layer of responsibility, I would say.
true.
Because it's truly affecting a human being, like an organism itself, in a benefit way, like definitely. So that's why it can be so successful. That's why it can be so impactful, because at the end you're adding more longevity, you're adding more health. And I think it's a really important pillar for all us. Like,
yeah, I agree, and that's why I think it's not like it's not going away. It's vitally designed here to stay, and my goal is to tell the world about this, you know, because I want every architect and every interior designer, every stylist, I want to learn them to implement these elements, because it's so important, and it really you know, I think it's the future of design, actually.
totally. Yeah, I
And
think
you
you can boast so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so you mentioned designers and architects and so on. Do you think that they're the only ones who can, let's say, start this trend and start creating this impact, or the people in their households can actually start also applying this term and improving their lives? Because of course the designers are the ones who have the key to the roots when the building is built and so on. But I think that's interesting also for the people that are listening, how they can, you know, start implementing these little things and really start changing and seeing the impact. So what's your take on that? Do you think that they can do it? Do you think that it's possible?
You know, it's very easy to implement these little things, you know, so everyone can start with it today. I mean, of course, it's the impact that architects and interior designers can make is much bigger, because we all have many clients, so we spread it more. But everybody can start with it today, you know. You can implement little things. You can I don't know, I have like this little box in my toilet, and every time the door opens, you hear birds singing.
oh my God, I love it. That's something so European that I have seen only in Europe.
Really?
I've seen like 2-3 houses I enter, and I found that so marvelous. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, it's like this very little thing, but it makes you so happy, and it's really enlightening, and yeah, it's nothing and it's everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
So crazy how even those mini stuff, that again, it's a product that you maybe buy with like, I don't know, 10-15 euros, and it really changed your experience of going to the toilet. Imagine that.
Exactly.
And from all those mini stuff, for example, like if you will talk to let's say about mamas, you know, like back to the moms, that they want to kind of like elevate a little bit more their not only their houses on looking good and natural, but on having an impact on maybe themselves and their hormones and all their kids. Maybe there are a lot of women and mothers that are already kind of taking care and trying to integrate this kind of non-toxic cleaning things, that they want to house like out of toxins, so they use a lot of like natural stuff and scents. And like what would be, for example, like if you would put it in like the most important 3 things that you can do right now? For example, like, I don't know, sunlight, this plant, it's magic plant, I don't know, and maybe the sounds, or like what would be the 3 like non-negotiable biophilic like things and elements that they must exist in your house?
Yeah, well, I would say at least have in every place of your house one side where you can see nature. So if it's a house plant, or if it's a view outside where you can see like this tree, or, you know, everywhere you are in your house, you at least have one side of nature, of nature elements.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. The daylight, that's very important as well. It's not always easy when your house is your house, you know, but
Yeah.
can do things like working with mirrors, for example, you know, when the light is coming in and you place a mirror so it reflects, so the daylight spreads, for example. And yeah, I would say use like sustainable materials. That's so important, you know. We have like this responsibility to to look after the planet. So when you use sustainable materials in your interior, that really means a lot. That really has like this impact not only on yourself but also on the planet.
Yeah, and I think that now that people are gonna be, I'm sure that the impact created with this is gonna be amazing, really. And I think that people that now are gonna be aware of this term, they're gonna start thinking and even restructuring how they have their house. For example, if they have the Commodore or the kitchen placed one way, and they can maybe think, well, I really don't use that dining table a lot, but it enters a lot of sunlight. Maybe I can put there my office if I'm there like more than 8 days away, 8 hours a day, and I have my office upstairs, for example, where sunlight it's you know, it's never there. So I think that it's not just those little tips, but it's also having the consciousness of the importance that this has, and then, you know, the human mind automatically starts thinking about ways to actually make this work. And it's great that it's great that we have experts like yourself who bring these terms, because like I mentioned, the impacts can be amazing. It's especially with, you know, there's, since the pandemic, people are more and more inside their homes, and if we don't create an environment inside our homes that's it contains nature, it contains but these important topics that you mentioned, Lian, there are going to be a lot of problems in the long term, for sure, because we're not connected with the thing that keeps us alive, which is nature. So I really think that the impact, it's amazing, and we have not really seen yet the impact that being a lot of times in hours per day at home is going to create in the human being and the species. But in my opinion, it's not going to be that good of an impact if we don't start applying terms as the biophilic design, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also you mentioned like this children, you know, it's so important to teach our children the importance of nature, because, you know, what you are learned to love when you're a child, you're not likely to destroy. So you create like this awareness within your children that nature is there to serve us, but not, you know, we should take care of it and not destroy it like is happening now. I think that's very important to you know, children are very open to it. You know, they are most likely to connect.
They're not so conditioned yet. They haven't been so conditioned yet and so brainwashed by all the entire like agenda and like all these like BS things that happens on the news and on the TV and this and that, that's why they're so pure. And then they recognize and identify those things in such a positive way. So for example, exactly as a parent, if you introduce and have a lot of more plants there, and for example, minimal stuff, but that every Wednesday the kids need to water the plants. Like each kid, for example, water the plants like from the first floor, and the other kid can water the plants from the second floor. And by integrating this kind of like, it's family dynamics, it's nature integration, responsibility again,
so taking care of something,
values, where you truly start to command these behaviors, these habits of let me serve what it's serving me, this reciprocity, you know, like it's very interesting how truly I really thought about how far this biophilic design can expand, you know. And when we just talk about it, it has to do with all kind of like human related health, and performance itself, like your performance as a human in whatever kind of work that you can do, you know, if you work from home or if you work from whatever thing you do, you will be definitely triggered by this environment. And that's when we go back to epigenetics and all that stuff, you know. The power of integrating nature and bringing yourself back to that root where we came from will allow you to be more healthy and to live longer.
Yeah.
Same to your kids and to your house with all the materials that you will use. And if you're using organic, then of course they last longer. The air is different. You breathe differently. I think there's really a way of elevating the entire like lifespan by integrating all this. I think it's marvelous.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, we have to watch out that we don't raise like this indoor generation, you know, that kids don't come outside anymore and they are not connected to nature.
Yeah,
because it's really it's not healthy. We need to be outside. We need to feel like this. And you just mentioned like this COVID period. Of course, we were well, actually, I don't know how it was elsewhere, but in the Netherlands, it was like the only thing we could do was go outside and take walks in nature. Yeah. And that was the moment that we realized, that's my house cat.
So sweet. Yeah, I was spotting him, so sweet.
So that was actually a moment that a lot of people were like, okay, this is nice. I feel relaxed. My heart rate is going down. My blood pressure is going down. I feel like, I don't know, totally connected. Because one of the things when you feel connected with nature, you also feel connected with yourself. And I think that's a very important theme as well. So,
do you think there's any type of restriction when it comes to, so does every type of home can have this, can take this initiative? I think they can, of course, but I wanted to hear from you. So it's the same if you have a 40-meter square studio, then you know, I don't know, a mansion with nature and so on. So let's say the practice can it be done? And
well, you know, the fun thing is that it doesn't have to be real nature. There is like this scientific research done, and it's called the attention restoration theory. And in this they investigate what it does with the brain when you're looking at like a picture of nature. And even looking at a picture of nature for 40 seconds really does something in your brain. So that means you don't have to have like this real plant. You can also have a picture of something natural on your wall. That works as well. So that's I think that's really cool because it doesn't have to be
something so real. Like, I mean, it doesn't limit you, let's say.
Exactly.
Like it's something that is then able for everybody, and it's nice because it also can be very tailored, you know, like if your favorite thing is the forest, then you maybe have like a forest picture. If you adore the sea, and okay, lovely, you put a like say, and then of course then you can combine then the sounds of like, okay, the waves maybe, or if you're in the forest, then like sounds of like these like birds and crickets and like you know. I think you start to curate life in a different way and in an impactful way, in a giving way. Again, back to the nature. It's really big. Yeah,
I think so too.
Lovely. So before we wrap it up, what would you say, or do you have, because of course people will need to start taking initiative, and let me tell you, I'm going to start taking initiative too, for sure. So what are the things that people can start doing, or where they can start learning about this more, and where can they, you know, just start seeing and start getting this information and this knowledge and on the topic, and what do you recommend are the first steps to get into biophilic design?
when you really want to get into this, then a good way to really feel what nature does to you is taking a forest bath. Have you ever heard of this?
I love it, and believe me, that's why I got a dog. I was like, okay, I will be obligated then to integrate my forest baths.
Yeah. It's like this thing is from Japan, actually. In Japan, it's called Shinrin-yoku, and it's forest bathing, and it's really a way of using all your senses when you go into nature. It's about, not like normal you go for a walk in the forest and you're like walking like crazy, like your everyday work, it's really hectic, and then you start walking in the forest also in a hectic way. But the trick is to slow down, to like walk very slowly, and to really observe what is around you, and really try to smell what is there to smell, and really touching things, like, and also sounds. Really concentrate on what it is I'm hearing, and what it is I'm hearing far away, what it is I'm hearing very close by, the hard noise, the soft noise, and really start focusing on your senses. And then you will experience nature in a very different way, because you're more aware of everything that's happening around you. And that's a really good way to start feel what nature does to you. And when you have that experience, then you are more convinced to implement it in your own life, and get to know like these materials, or all these ways that you can implement in your own work or home environment.
Yeah, because I suppose it's not the same. Like us as human beings, is not the same the way I react to a certain sound or certain noise or certain smell as you, Lilian, do, or Pato, or whatever, So I think that's nice that you mentioned that. Like the first step to biophilic design will be get outside and just breathe some fresh air and start seeing the impact that has in just 10, 15, 30 minutes of that can really change your day. And if you're in a very stressed environment, in which 98% of people do every single day, just taking these 15 minutes walks and really just without anything, leave your phone at home, leave your everything, just go and have your mind cleared thanks to the to the environment and to the fresh air. That's gonna really start changing their lives. And once they see the impact that only those 15 minutes have outside their home, I think it's gonna be a non-negotiable for them to actually implement it inside the home. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do myself. I start every day. I start with a morning walk of half an hour. Just just walk outside, and there's like this park here, and yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a very interesting forest or something. It's just like this park, but it's okay. You're outside. You're connecting with the weather conditions. It's.
I think you immerse yourself again into that foundation of life. Again, not waking up because the alarm sounded, but waking up because yourself is rested enough to wake up again. And it's interesting to then put attention to these signals that the body sends and has, how it reacts to that environment again, how it reacts to being outside, and then kind of like calibrating your body temperature with outside, and how you breathe a little bit deeper through your nostrils as there's like fresh air, and how that all completely oxygen is waking up all cells. And then after your 20 minutes, 30 minutes walk, I think you log in yourself differently the moment you're like ready to like, okay, now let me action. I think it's so important that you kind of have this foundation that kind of locked you in. I'm really with the idea of like in this marvelous game and simulation we all are. We truly need to know how to log in and how to log out, because we cannot like exist 24/7 in a row. Like we have these moments, and I think nature will be the things that kind of like dictate these logins and outs. You just back again, you just sit in the sun, you log in, you log out. We are nature, we open the flower, we close it down. We grow the color, we all impact, we love, we connect, but the moment we need to rest, close the eyes. And I think it's really important to
Lovely.
guide yourself with nature on that.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. So thanks for hopping in, Lian. This was great. It was great having a conversation with you, especially with this, this term that's it's not known, it's not a trend, it's something that's totally studied, something that's great, the impact is very positive. So thanks for your expertise. If you want to say something, or if you want to close with something, please go ahead. And if not, it was a pleasure to meet you, and yeah, looking forward to maintaining this great relationship with you. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, both of you. It was lovely to share my passion, and I hope I inspired a lot of people to start implementing these natural elements in everybody's lives. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Definitely, there will be people, again, a mom, Britney, fan, like whatever, that will be like, yeah, totally. I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna try it for his bad. And again, I think we put it so clearly with like examples and how you can truly add these things, how you can get to know a little bit more about this. So really marvelous, your expertise, really so impactful, how you can, not only in your designer career, but to your entire people, and again to all the ones that are hearing this right now, how you truly can share the possibility to remember them, how they easily can connect back to that nature. I think it's a valuable, a really valuable thing that you brought to us today. So also really grateful to having you today with us. It was a really marvelous conversation, and definitely for more upcoming marvelous meetings and those nature nice stuff that will span our life. Definitely.
Lovely. It was a great conversation, Leon.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Lovely. Let me.
So
I will stop
nice
recording. Yeah.
You guys are so enthusiastic.